I was coming to Los Angeles to visit Jimmy's roommate.
And I was working on a solo album, and I was having a lot of guest vocalists, and I had this song that I thought Ben's voice would sound really good on, so I asked if he'd be up for singing on it, and he said yes.
You sent me a CD of the song that became This Is the Dream of Evan and Sean.
It was familiar to me, the smoke too thick to breathe.
We recorded it really quickly, in maybe a couple hours, and it just felt really easy, and it came out really good right away, I thought.
At some point over the weekend that we did Evan and Sean, I just kind of suggested to Jimmy, like, hey, would you want to do some more of this stuff? Jimmy was kind of like, yeah, that sounds good. That could be fun. It wasn't like there wasn't like an epiphany moment of naming the band. I think at some point, it just kind of, as a joke, it kind of made sense to call it the Pulse Service because, he was literally sending me CDs in the mail, and I was sending him back, the finished product.
I'd send something to Ben would work on it, send it back, and I'd make the adjustments in my computer. And
then I would basically just kind of walk around listening to that. I guess at the time, being in 2001, 2002, it would be like on a Discman or something like that, which is crazy to think now. But I'd walk around and just, kind of hum to myself and just kind of daydream on what, lyric ideas that came up, what kind of the tone that it seemed to set as far as what the song wanted to be about.
I think we kind of knew the record was done when we had the right amount of songs that make up a record. We didn't have any excess songs. Wait, is it 10 songs on that one?
I think there's 10 songs. I think an album was 10 songs.
Yeah, so we made 10
the magic
songs.
Number.
We made Such Great Heights last, I think, right? Or right near the end.
It was really towards the end, yeah. It was like summer of 2000. It was June of 2002, I believe.
But I remember we referred to it as the hit a couple times, like as a joke.
I'm thinking it's a sign that the freckles in our eyes are mirror images, and when we kiss they're perfectly aligned. I have to speculate.
I remember we were putting together the tour, the Give Up tour. Our booking agent had a really difficult time getting us any shows because a lot of people, booking agents, were like, what is this thing? It's a guy from Death Cab. Okay, well, yeah, they can draw 300 people, and then who's this other guy, and why do I want to put the show on? And the expectations for it were very low. We started the tour and we were playing to 250 people in San Diego, and then we were playing to 300 people in Austin, and there were like 400 people here. And then by the time we got to New York, we had to add a second show. And by the time we got back to Los Angeles, we had gone from a venue that held 300 people into a venue that held 1,500 people, just in the course of that month that we were on the road. I had gone back to doing Death Cab stuff, and Jimmy had gone back to doing Dentel. It was kind of at that point where we just started kind of getting these reports back about yeah, the record's at 200,000, the record's at 300,000. It's about to go gold. They just went gold.
I remember talking to Tony at Sub Pop, and he was trying to convince me that he thought that it could sell 10 or 20,000, and I was kind of scoffing at that idea.
The record kind of took on a life of its own and just kind of found its way into areas that, Death Cab or Dentel had not even gotten close to reaching. It was odd to see that just kind of fly off on its own and just completely take on a world of its own. I'll go the rest of my life trying to figure out why it happened the way it did, because it doesn't make any sense to me. How do you make a follow-up to something that was never really meant to be followed up. But now all of a sudden there's a demand for it and people are really clamoring for a second record, but there was really not a plan to make a second one from the very beginning.
The first one came together in such a natural way that, like, I feel like if it happens again, it has to feel like that, and maybe that's impossible.
We didn't really know each other hardly at all when we started this process, and when I sent him the first song, first couple songs, I was kind of a little bit nervous that, all right, here we go. I don't really know this guy.
I think maybe it's an interesting way to work where you're not that comfortable with each other personally, so you kind of hold back your opinions more, but that lets what each of us were doing kind of like simmer for a while. I've never been super skilled socially and very good at maintaining relationships and stuff, and I feel like the best way for me is by working on music with someone. It's like a way to stay connected and have something to talk about.
Well, it may be kind of hokey to say, but from a career standpoint, the success of the record means one thing, but from a personal standpoint, this record also kind of represents, the origins of my friendship with Jimmy, and that's, at the end of the day, I think, much more valuable than kind of something you get to hang on your wall,